When we start off, it has to start off as jamming because we want to know what each other sounds like. So all of us are speaking different languages. It's almost like a conference where we just trying to say hello to each other, and trying to figure out what the other person wants to say, what the other person wants to sound like.
And I wanted to do something with Naga music, get the tribal music on, and that conversation merged. And that's how Treekam started. And then I thought of the name Treekam, which is a Sanskrit word for tribe.
If you listen to the songs, it's not overwhelming, but every person in that album has something to say, and you can literally hear it. And that's something that I always incline towards when writing a song, because it's not just about me, or it's not just about Abhay, or it's not just about any other particular person.
All right, I'm always excited when there's new music out, and especially music of this form, because it's very rarely that one gets to hear this kind of a soundscape. Please welcome the members of what I think is an ensemble that should stand the course of time. How it all came about is the album Treekam, and that prompted this bunch of excellent musicians and producer and curator to get together. The album actually is released on all streaming sites on the 31st of August. So we're already a couple of weeks into the album. Treekam is co-produced by Sandeep Chowta. Unfortunately, Sandeep is not joining us. But the celebrated sonic craftsman and composer is very sorely missed, and I have to doff my hat to him. Great job done. Arpito Gope is here, however, cultural curator and music producer. The album is released under the Number Music label, and we had to obviously have a couple of the artists with us. Abhay Nayampally is a master of guitars, and if you're living under a rock, I have to tell you that he translates the precision of Carnatic music into the emotional language of strings. And he's a senior disciple of the late and great mandolin Vidwan Guru U. Srinivas, and today a trailblazing Carnatic classical guitarist who has really adapted that revered style of mandolin Srinivas, as we always refer to him in the South, to the electric guitar. There's lots more about Abhay, but we should probably do another separate episode just on him. But we're very, very glad to have him. And of course, Arenlong, the guitar player from Nagaland. Now, Arenlong channels the oral chant traditions of his tribe into a percussive, layered, deeply soulful style of guitar playing. And he's won multiple guitar competitions across the country. And he's also a recipient of the TAFMA Award, Nagaland. If you remember, we had the head of TAFMA coming and doing a chat with us. Wonderful gentleman. So, there we go. Introductions done. Arpito, how are you doing, my brother? All well?
Yeah, hi Hrishi, all well. Very excited to be here on your show.
Lovely.
Thank you for having
Abhay,
us.
nice to have you. How are you?
I'm good, Hrishi. Thank you so much for having me on.
And Arenlong for the very first time. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. Thank you so much, Hrishi, for having me as well.
The thing about fusion music, and you'd like to take this, Abhay, is that a lot of it is jamming. I mean, you can't really put it into a structure, can you? Because in essence, this is the confluence of two or three different streams of music. So I think that's a good place to start. How much of this was just jamming, and how much of it was structured and put into place?
I think when we first started off, what happened was we didn't know what kind of sound signature this is going to end up being, because we were trying to put together essentially different languages of music, essentially different approaches. So anytime any of that kind of an endeavor is taken up, it has to necessarily depend on a little bit of jamming, even if it is structured. In the end product, when we start off, it has to start off as jamming because we want to know what each other sounds like. So all of us are speaking different languages. It's almost like a conference where we just trying to say hello to each other, and trying to figure out what the other person wants to say, what the other person wants to sound like. So putting it together in a coherent manner, in an aesthetic manner, because it should not sound like fusion for the sake of fusion. It should sound like, okay, you have all of these languages that have come together to form one single language, one single vocabulary. And that, I think, is the tricky bit about handling fusion music as we know it today. So I don't I'm hoping that we've done that in as beautiful a manner as possible, in as aesthetic a manner, and as pleasing and joyful a manner as possible. But I think one of the things I really have to mention is it was so easy to work with Arenlong, because I mean his playing is so intuitive, his playing is so beautiful that it just when the two guitars came together, they just spoke their own stuff, but neither clashed with one another.
How
So
beautiful.
I think that we're really blessed to be working with people like Aaron Long and all of I mean even Seb Reed and J Rod and of course the legendary Tom Schuman. So yeah, I think all of these languages came together to form something coherent, something beautiful, in my opinion. And yeah, that's what I think about it.
Arenlong, that's tall praise coming from Abhay. you can
Yes,
return the
I
compliment.
think he must have said a little bit too much about
No.
But really, what interests me is you say your chants are not melodies, Arenlong. They're memories.
Yeah.
Not melodies, but memories. Explain that and talk about how you brought that to the fore as far as Treekam is concerned.
Yeah, so most of our songs, basically, like if you hear the Naga sort of songs in general, like there are some few fundamental notes that stick out, and it just the moment you hear them, it's like you instantly go, okay, this is like a Naga sort of song. So why that phrase mattered to me was because as a kid, like I would hear it every time when I visit any festivals, or if it's an occasion or anything of that has to do with tradition. So when Treekam came about, the initial phase, I knew that's where I needed to step in, and then just try and recollect some of those experiences that I had as a kid. But at the same time, I needed to explore a bit more, because Nagaland has many tribes.
Sure.
And even though the fundamental notes are practically there in every tribe, like there are slight variations. So I needed to just have a bit more expansion on that, and basically just just listen to as much material as I could, and then not overdo the melodies. That was my primary goal, because if I added more notes to it, the essence of what that stood for would be lost. So yeah, I mean that's basically my thought process going into.
Very beautifully answered. Now, Arpito, getting Abhay and getting Arenlong itself is a mighty thing. They're guitar virtuosos, but I'd still give you that. I mean, you've worked enough in the Northeast to know people like Arenlong. You know enough musicians via to have reached Abhay. But this is a casting coup, my friend. How on earth, and you could see the reverence in Abhay's voice when he mentioned Tom Schuman. Tom Schuman, to us, all of us music lovers, in a lot of ways is the OG, if I can call him that. I mean, for those of you who don't know, this is the man behind Spyro Gyra, the founding member of Spyro Gyra, and he's a jazz fusion legend. When you have Tom Schuman on the keyboards, the world just sounds a better place. So getting Tom to come on, because this is a 13-time Grammy winner. He's also a solo producer on his own, so he's 7-8 albums on his own label. So tell me how that happened.
So Sandeep and I, we have been planning to do an album for the longest time. I think last 16 years we've been friends, and we've just always said we must produce something together. So conversation of Treekam started when Sandeep wanted to do something with 3 guitarists, and I wanted to do something with Naga music, get the tribal music on, and that conversation merged. And that's how Treekam started. And then I thought of the name Treekam, which is a Sanskrit word for tribe. Arenlong is one of the best guitarists out of Northeast, and we really wanted him. I have been a huge fan of Abhay right from his first album. So again, a very natural choice. And I knew that these two gentlemen could sort of get a vision together, and translate it. Tom has been, rather the entire Spyro Gyra band has been a good friend of Sandeep's for many years. And he has also actually produced a track of theirs around a decade back. And so Tom knows Sandeep very well. Tom and his wife also follow my music blog and they like my writing. So there are a lot of connections there. And when we were really ready with the tracks of Treekam, and Tom asked Sandeep, what are you busy with now? And he said this. He said, why don't you send me something? So very interestingly, the song Swan Song, which is turning out to be the most popular track of the album, was a track which both Sandeep and I felt was not really coming out as strong as we wanted it. And he actually sent it to Tom to just hear it out. Without saying anything, Tom in 24 hours came back, and he's a master arranger, which I'm sure, Hrishi, you know. He came back, he arranged the keys at the back, and suddenly what was missing, it was just there. And interestingly, Swan Song is today, I think, the most popular track of the album. And Tom being a master arranger, and if you hear this song also, it starts, it's like that morning dance kind of thing, it just starts with that flavor and then it just continues. So we are very lucky that, it was just came out of a conversation and Tom decided to just pitch in and he said, I want to be on the album. So it was just fantastic. Yeah.
I just want to fill in the blanks here because that's my job. I'm not a musician. I'm just a music lover, a fan of the music that these guys make. But when I say Abhay and Arenlong are on this album, it doesn't mean they've just played on it. Sandeep Chowta is the producer. They both have composer credits on it. So, for example, the song that Arpito just spoke about, which is Swan Song, is composed by Abhay. And obviously then it was sent to Tom, and Tom and Abhay found mutual ground where they were able to arrange it properly. Likewise, there's a track called Spunky Town, which is again composed and arranged by Abhay. And again, Arenlong's contribution is not just playing guitar, but he has composed blending tunes, which is another important song on Treekam, the album. And of course, Zakto Tssoa, and it's spelled Tssoa. Which he has composed. And that's going to be my next question, Arenlong. What really is Zakto Tssoa? If you'd explain that. And sorry, I just want to complete that. Divine Directions, which is another track, is also composed and arranged by Abhay. So Zakto Tssoa, I just want to understand the meaning of that.
I think this name was given by Arpito, because we had a discussion. When it came to naming the song, so he shared an idea about what the song felt like. So I think it's best that I leave it to Arpito.
Over to you. I just thought naturally I should ask the composer because it could be a Naga tribal chant that we don't know about.
Yeah,
and Arenlong is going to give us a detailed deep dive explanation.
Yeah,
I'm quite surprised it was you. So go ahead, Arpito.
So what we did was every song is named by one of us. So everyone took one song to name it. And I decided to name this song. And in Lotha, Zakto Tssoa means you need to hurry. And when you listen to the track, you feel that kind of energy. It pushes you. You need to hurry. And Zakto Tssoa means you need to hurry in Lotha language. And Arenlong named the blending fusion, which is the Ao track. He himself is from the Ao tribe, and he named it Blending Fusions. So yeah, that's the background to the names.
Interesting. And I think it's wonderful that, Arpito, you got the Honorable Chief Minister of Nagaland himself to come and inaugurate the album and the album cover. So talk about that. One thing is to get TAFMA involved. You're also part of TAFMA, which is excellent. TAFMA is really doing some yeoman's work in the Northeast. But the Chief Minister and what he thought.
Yeah, so I actually took a chance and just requested if he would release the cover. And immediately within, I think, 24 hours, I got an answer back. Of course, he's happy to do that. And I immediately flew down, and I thought it would be a small affair where, we'll go to his room and he'll unveil the cover and that'll be it. But it was a surprise for me because there was actually a large meeting happening there on the global footprints of TAFMA. Because as you are aware, and you spoke to Teja Meru, the chairman of TAFMA last year.
Yep.
So TAFMA has been able to take a lot of the artists and the music of Nagaland to different even countries as well. Festivals, exchange programs, etc. So they were actually having a kind of a conference on the global footprints of TAFMA where all the MLAs, the chief minister, the deputy chief minister, the entire cabinet were present, and the album cover was actually launched over there. So it was a very august company that I had, and it was brilliant, and he loved it. He autographed one of the covers for us as well. So it was very interesting to know. He asked me as well, what's the meaning of the name Treekam? So I said, yeah, it's a Sanskrit trio. So I was very happy he did it because, the Chief Minister, Honorable Chief Minister, Mr. Rio, is one of the key persons behind this whole concept of TAFMA and the concept of Nagaland going after soft power. He believes in the youth, and he believes that music, soft power, culture is actually the thing that Nagaland should use to grow, because there are not like heavy industries, etc. Right? So youth power is the key thing that he believes in, and him launching this album, which is the first time that global sounds, Carnatic music, Naga theme has come in. So I think it was really lovely having him sign it off.
Well, you segued very beautifully into my next question, which was going to be, what really is Treekam? It just literally means tribe in Sanskrit, does it? Yeah. Trio or tribe?
Trio.
Trio. Okay, three. Okay.
Yeah. Because the concept, Sandeep and I, we discussed was that it's a project. Treekam is going to be a project where we're going to take 3 stringed instruments, 3 guitars. So it has 1 bass guitarist and 2 guitarists.
Interesting.
So it's going to keep changing every time and giving you something new.
Let's talk about a couple of the other people who are very deeply involved in this project. Abhay, maybe you can start, and Arenlong can continue. Seb Reed is a very noted bass guitar player from the UK. I think what he brings to the table is a subtlety and also a very intuitive ability of knowing where to punch the bass notes. And you guys must have really enjoyed working with him. And of course, Gerard Sullivan, who's almost a legend over the sands of time. If you look at the people he's drummed for and been in bands with, Janet Jackson, Jeffrey Osborne, the Four Corners, he's toured around the world and really revered as a groove and drum king. So Abhay, working with them, and also the fact that Sandeep brings a very unique jazz sensibility to Treekam as a project. Maybe we can talk about Seb, J-Rod, as well as Sandeep. So Abhay, please start.
So starting with Sandeep sir, of course, he is one of the greatest jazz fans that I've ever met in my life. He is a walking encyclopedia of jazz music. So with him, you never need to do a Google search, because you just ask him, when was this recording made? Who was the bassist on this album? It could be like 50, 60 years ago, but he will know every single detail about it. So he comes from that sensibility of, loving jazz. So I cannot imagine any of his music without there being some texture of jazz coming in somewhere. And that's brilliant, because I've grown up on jazz as well, and I love jazz as a form of music. And I have a lot of respect for people who play jazz, who are practitioners of jazz. So that angle really enriches, really elevates the sound of Treekam. We've used it in a very, very simple, very subtle way. We have not pushed it very forward because we didn't want it to be like a jazz album, but there is a texture of it that is flowing very tangibly underneath that, just elevates the sound of it a little bit. When it comes to talking about J-Rod, the guy is just an absolute force. He's an absolute force. He can define an album with just, one touch of the snare or one touch of the hat, because people like him, they know exactly how much power to put into the stick that's going onto any of the drums or cymbals that are going on. That kind of sensitivity really adds to the music. It really adds to the creativity, because when we were in the process of making the album, and I remember when I first heard J-Rod's take on Spunky Town, after, because I had some very basic loops, drum loops that I'd added just as a reference, and I was used to listening to Spunky Town in that way, and then I suddenly heard J-Rod's take on it, with the loops off and J-Rod's drumming on, and then it suddenly woke me up. I was like, oh my god, this is this is completely new. This is completely fresh. So what happened is, he, with his drumming, really contributed. It was like a catalyst for further ideas to come up, because when we heard that, we realized that, oh, we could do this, oh, we could do that, we could take it in a different direction, and it just elevated every aspect of the song, or all of the songs that he's played. And with Seb, I think he's probably one of the most sensitive bassists I've ever worked with. He's worked on my solo album as well, Abhay Nayampally, back in 21. And I've played on a lot of tracks with Seb being the bassist, and what I've noticed is this guy has insane amount of skill. He has incredible skill, he has incredible musicality, but he's not itching to show it in every single line. He's not itching to show it in every single phrase. That shows sensitivity. He will play just as much as is required for that particular phrase, for that particular line at that moment. You let him free and he'll completely blow you off. But otherwise, it's his playing just holds everything together so well. There's a very, very steady and very beautiful and aesthetic bed underneath the entire album that Seb brings. That bed is created by Seb. So it's phenomenal having, I mean, we are very fortunate to be working with these people, because we are in different corners of the globe, but just to be able to sit down in a room, put all of these things together, it's yeah, I think we are very, very privileged to be working with these people.
Arenlong, you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much I want to say about all the musicians that have been involved in making Treekam a possibility, and it has to definitely start with Sandeep and what he has sort of shared with us, basically the vision, and Sir Arpito, both of them has done so much for this, and I'm actually really honored to have been included in a list of all these amazing musicians, starting with Abhay. I really loved what he has done on all the songs, and if I have to make a confession, I actually enjoyed playing on his song a lot more than I did on mine. So that tells you a lot
that goes both ways, because I enjoyed playing on Arenlong's compositions as well. It was so much fun, just leaving all the responsibilities and just playing solos on the songs that he created. Sorry to interrupt you, Arenlong.
and the one thing that really struck me and really was impressive for me was the entire thing was so well balanced in such a way that there's space for everything, and that's how because I'm not familiar with Tom Schuman and Seb as musicians. I haven't known them from before, but when Sandeep told me that they are the ones filling up the other instruments and especially the drums, I mean, these guys just elevated the songs to an entire new level. And I can't speak highly enough of J-Rod. I mean, the moment Sandeep sent me okay, this is the drummer that's going to be on Treekam, then I was like, oh my god, this is and I was more curious to hear what J-Rod was going to play on the very rough sketches of the demos, because as a songwriter and as a musician, the drummer is such an integral part of the band, and if I have to choose an instrumental artist, like for a band, the drummer is the first person that I would go for, something like that. So I was really curious to see what he had done with the songs. And the moment Sandeep sent me his first initial text, I was like literally blown away. And yeah, I mean that really gave like the final ingredient for the songs, because like the bass and the other instruments were already already put in place. And the use of space, and because it's not overwhelming as an instrumental album. If you listen to the songs, it's not overwhelming, but every person in that album has something to say, and you can literally hear it. And that's something that I always incline towards when writing a song, because it's not just about me, or it's not just about Abhay, or it's not just about any other particular person. It's about coming together and making something that everyone enjoys, especially the musicians first and foremost, and the audience and the people that are going to feed on that. So I was really happy that the entire album came out that way, where everyone is just sitting comfortably where they are, and complimenting each other in such a way that it's almost like a conversation, and that's what I think music should be about. So I'm really honored to have been part of Treekam.
Arpito, you spoke about 3 instruments coming together for Treekam. Looks to me that it's not just the instruments we're talking about here. We're talking about philosophies. One is the elegance of South Indian Carnatic music. The other is that ritualistic pulse of Naga tribal chants, and of course the global groove of jazz, soul, and ambient production. Is that a good summation of what Treekam is all about?
Yes, it's quite a good summation, definitely, because I think it is the 2 cultures coming together.
Yeah.
And 2 cultures which are really, I don't know, apples and oranges or peaches or what, absolutely, right? Geographically as well as culturally. And we had to bring it together. So I think there was a lot of people who heard about it, like Naga and Carnatic. I mean, it just sounded kind of out of the blue. But I think Sandeep and I were very clear of what we wanted to do and how we wanted to get it. And I think I just wanted to add to the last question about all the artists, that I think one thing I would like to, of course, point out is Arenlong was one guy who actually was doing something which is not done. He's an extremely good progressive rock guitarist. He does a lot of hard stuff. But he was doing something where he's trying to play with Carnatic rags, match that, complement that, as well as get those phrases from those Naga melodies. So I must compliment him for that. I think that was something which was unique. Coming back to, as you said about so again, from a very technical music point of view, Treekam, so we had to take the ragas first, because when Abhay is composing, so if he took, say, Hamsadwani, then very pentatonic scale, then Arenlong pitched on that, and then we sort of worked on it. I think we had picked up nearly 6 rags, from which we picked up 3, and Arenlong had sent us nearly again 6 odd tribes melodies, and we again picked up 2 out of those, which we felt sort of would go with the audiences. And then we sort of built on it. So it was, at one level, the philosophies coming together of Carnatic rags, and at the very technical point, it was the different rags and how the notes blended. And that's where we sort of worked on.
Lovely. Please go stream it on all major streaming sites. It's called Treekam, Treekam with a double E. Really appreciate your time and your patience. Abhay Nayampally, all the best, and thank you for chatting with us.
Thank you so much, Hrishi K.
Arenlong, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on the show. More power to you. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me.
And Arpito Gope, keep spreading the light, man. Getting the right people together and do these projects. Wonderful to talk to you. Bye-bye. See you.
Bye. Take care.
94.3 Radio 1.